So today's science fiction themed shoot is SpongeBob and Patrick riding a cat in space. I got it in Walmart a couple years ago when I visited the United States of that place. It's kind of weird, but you know, it's sci-fi-ish, and to celebrate that, I brought my SpongeBob cake toppers. These are cake toppers, but I have them as legit collectibles. Much like I had my Teen Titans action figure when I wore my Teen Titans shirt in the last Sci-Fi September video, which was my announcement video, which, if in case you missed, I'm hosting a readathon in September called Sci-Fi September, where we will be reading science fiction all month long. There's a whole bingo board, or bing board as I like to call it, with 16 amazing prompts or challenges to help you pick your science fiction reads. If you don't know anything about the readathon, go watch my announcement video, and go watch the announcement videos of all of my co-hosts, Kathy, Kelly, and Jesse, all of whom will also be uploading TBRs this week. And we have a Discord. The Discord has almost 60 people on it, like it's doing really well, and lots of people are like talking and interacting and sharing recommendations. So if you want to take part in a really fun community-oriented readathon, take part in Sci-Fi September and join the Discord. You'll meet lots of great people, you'll get lots of great recommendations. Everybody's there talking sci-fi. It's amazing. I will leave the link to the Discord down below. Make sure to follow us on Twitter as well, of course. And yes, the construction is still going on. I'm filming this on the same day as my last video. I am still very highly annoyed. Okay, so that was a horrendously long intro, so I'm gonna just tell you about the 12 books that I'm planning on maybe reading in September. I don't think I will get to all 12 of these, but my goal is to read at least half. So I'm gonna start off with the ones that I have on my physical TBR first. So these 3 books are all books that I was actually sent for review by the publishers or by the authors, so I'm gonna go through them with you all now. The first 2 are young adult novels. So last year I was sent Mirage by Sumaya Dawood by the publisher, and I never got around to reading it because I'm a terrible person. This is actually a blend of science fiction and fantasy, and it will complete some of the prompts, including read a science fiction novel with fantasy elements, as well as maybe Global South. I'm not too sure, but it will complete a few of the prompts. So I'm really happy about that. I think it's a story about this girl who bears a striking resemblance to the princess of her nation or kingdom or whatever. So she's sort of like kidnapped and used as like a body double whenever the princess has to be put in precarious positions. So the next book is Journey to the Heart of the Abyss by London Shah. This was actually sent to me by the author, and it's an arc. The book doesn't come out until October, so I'm going to try to read this at the beginning of September and get a review out. It is essentially the sequel to Light at the Bottom of the World, which is one of my favorite young adult sci-fi novels, which is set in a futuristic underwater London, where our main protagonist is kind of like on a run from the government, and like there are these evil killer mermaids who are trying to get her. It's really fun. It's a really fun series. I enjoyed the first book, and I'm definitely looking forward to diving into the second one. No pun intended. Every time I talk about this book, I unintentionally say that I'm going to dive into this story. I'm excited to dive into the story. Then I have Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis, which is a first contact story set in like 2007. This girl with daddy issues is kidnapped by an alien who is not that bad and who she kind of becomes friends with, and it's strange. I read like the first 100 pages. I was also sent this by the publisher and I never finished it because I'm a terrible person. And I was enjoying it. I don't quite know why I stopped. I think I had a little bit of issues with the world building. Like it was hard to keep up with like all of the things that were happening. So I did get the audiobook, so I'll probably listen to that while reading along with the physical copy. I also forgot to say what prompts this will complete, and I think this will definitely go for the underhyped and the water prompt. This one would probably help out with the contemporary sci-fi, as well as maybe popular, the Alien one definitely. Next I have some cult classics that I would like to read. So we first have Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, which I don't quite know if this is science fiction, but I think it gets lumped into science fiction because the author is known mostly for writing science fiction. But this one I think is more of like a fabulous magical realism, but I'm still counting it because it's the only story on the list that has time travel, and I need something to complete that prompt, so I'm gonna use this for that, and I don't quite know what else it will complete. So this is a story about a Black American woman who keeps being sent back in time to when slavery was still happening in the United States in the 1800s. So the book itself is set in the 70s. So she keeps being sent back in time, and she's not quite sure why, but she realizes that every time she's sent back in time, she has to save this same white guy. She starts to realize that there might be something about him that is key to her eventual existence. It's a story about kind of like, I guess, confronting the harsh realities of like slavery for Black Americans and whatnot. I I've heard amazing things about this book and this author, and it's about time, you know, it's blasphemous at this point that I haven't read anything by Octavia E. Butler, so I definitely need to get around to this. Then we have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. This is a book I've always wanted to read. It was translated from French, I believe, and it was published in the, I want to say 1950s or so, but I'm not too sure. I don't really know what it's about, but I know it has something to do with like underwater in a submarine and that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested in reading it. It will definitely complete the water prompt as well as the classic prompt, and who knows whatever else, popular fiction maybe. Another book on my physical TBR actually hasn't arrived as yet, but I definitely want to read it, and it's Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. So I've always wanted to read Jurassic Park, the book, before I watched the movie, because I've watched the movie when I was younger, but I barely remember it. I've watched the more recent Jurassic World movies a lot. I really enjoy those, but I keep stalling going back to the Jurassic Park movies because I want to read the book first. So this is a story, I mean, do I even need to tell you what it's about? It's like they managed to bring back dinosaurs because like a mosquito bit a dinosaur and like got its DNA in its blood, and then it was preserved in amber, and then they would use that to like bring back dinosaurs. So like there's this park or this zoo of dinosaurs, which by the way is like biologically impossible, like that could never actually happen, but like in the book it happens, right? That's why it's science fiction. And so there's this like zoo of dinosaurs called Jurassic Park, and obviously like the dinosaurs end up like breaking out and eating people. It's glorious, you know, it's amazing, and it completes these challenges. Definitely popular. I would say it's a classic, even though it's more recently published in like the 80s and 90s. It's a classic in its own right. So it's later in the day, and I think Jurassic Park just came in the mail. I'm not sure.
Yeah, can I read it?
I don't know if you could read this book, but let's see. Yep, it's Jurassic Park.
It's dinosaurs.
Yes, it's the dinosaurs.
Let's go see the dinosaurs.
Let's go see the Oh, it has like little covers, a little ripped, but that's fine. Do you like dinosaurs?
Yeah, I want to read it. The dinosaurs are populating our eggs. And the dinosaur is getting his eggs.
Okay, don't rip it. Don't rip the dinosaur.
On an egg.
Yeah, very good.
And she poops on the egg.
He pooped on the egg? Ew, that's not sanitary. The rest of the books I own digitally, so I'm listening to the audiobook of The Humans by Matt Haig. All I know about this is that it's about an alien race that monitors humanity, and one of them disguises himself as a human and comes to Earth to kind of like interact with people, I guess, and then he ends up like befriending a dog or something like that. So this will probably help with the alien presence. It will probably help with the non-human protagonist prompt, as well as contemporary with sci-fi elements. I also really have to read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I have this on my Kindle for ages now, and I just really want to read it because it's Hank Green. And this is a story about a woman who ends up finding like a robot and makes a video about it, and the video goes viral. And it's really less so about like the robots and more so like the consequences of virality. So it's really going to hit for the contemporary with sci-fi elements challenge, as well as obviously the robot/AI presence. And I think this is the only book on the list that will have a queer or LGBTQ thing, because I think the main character of the book is bisexual. You'd think with me I would find more science fiction books that had like LGBT characters or like by queer authors, but didn't really do a good job at that this round with this TBRs. We also have Soulless by Gail. I want to say Gail Casson Levine. It's not. It's Gail Carriger. But this is like steampunk, and this is like the steampunk book that everybody talks about, like this entire series. And I think it also has fantasy elements as well, because there's like werewolves and shit. I don't know, but I want to give it a try and see what the big deal is about and why everybody likes this. And it's the only book on the list that will complete the steampunk challenge, so I need to read this one. The only book that I have that will complete the short story challenge is The Tea Master and the Detective, which I think is a space opera that is inspired by like Vietnamese culture. I forgot the name of the author, but I believe she's French and of Vietnamese heritage. And this book may or may not have been translated from French. I'm not too sure, but it sounds interesting. I think it's supposed to be like a mystery as well, like a murder mystery on a spaceship, but also like Vietnamese or Asian inspired. But yeah, really looking forward to dive into this one. It's only 62 pages long, so it's perfect for the short story prompt. And I guess maybe Global South. Then we have The Lost Girl by Sangu Mandana, which I believe is set in India. And it's set in this world where when people die suddenly or tragically or very young, and the family cannot come to terms with their death, they create these like robots who look and act and sound just like the family member, and they are essentially sent to the family to sort of replace the person. And so the book is actually following this robot girl who is the replacement of another girl that died. So we're basically following the robot's perspective as she is living with this new family and having to live up to the expectations that they have of her because of the person who she was essentially created to replace. So this will go good for the Global South prompt, as well as maybe robot/AI presence, and definitely non-human main character. Also underhyped because I see people talking about some of Sangu Bandana's other books a lot, but I don't see enough people talking about this one. And then finally, I have to read Binti, Night of the Masquerader, I think, by Nnedi Okorafor. This is book 3 in the Binti series. I read the first 2 a couple weeks ago and really, really loved them. But I've been stalling on getting around to the 3rd book, so that's something that I definitely need to do. This is a series about this girl named Binti who is essentially just kind of trying to unearth the secrets of her life. She's from Earth in a futuristic West Africa. She ends up running away from home to go to this university on the other side of the galaxy, but then she comes back home in the 2nd book and ends up uncovering like family history secrets and all sorts of different secrets. It's difficult to explain what the story is about, but it's really, really cool. It's very whimsical as well. As for the prompts, it will complete Alien Presence, it will complete Global South, and yeah, that's my TBR for Sci-Fi September. So again, if you're interested in participating, all of the links will be down below. Also, let me know if you've read any of these books that I mentioned. As I said, if I read at least 6 of them, I'll be fine. But maybe you want to let me know which books you think I should prioritize because maybe you've read them and really enjoyed them, so let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. I hope you join us for Sci-Fi September, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.